Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial to show you how to do a text animator. I have two different comps here. I have a beginning and an end. So first I'm going to show you what the end looks like on this comp. So I just have the word cooking up on in the comp window and in the timeline, as you can see. And you'll notice that if I expand the layer bar, you'll note, and if I expand the text, you'll notice that I have a big long line of things going on here. What I did was I changed transformed the position using the text animator. So if I run through it, you'll see that the text kind of drops down, character by character. So what I did here was I selected, the first thing I selected was animate position. And when I did that, I suddenly had access to Animator 1. You can have multiple animators, so I wanted to animate the position, obviously, and have each character gradually drop down. So you'll notice up here I have a Range Selector, and I have two keyframes. Beginning of a range and the end of the range. So the end ends with the letter G dropping. The other thing I have here is the position. So I've turned on the position and I've turned on the range. I could do many things with this, but you can play with it because once you get the basics, you can pretty much animate any property you want. So as you can see from up here, you can animate position, scale, skew, rotation, width, color. And the difference between this is, as opposed to animating the entire layer, you're just animating the word on a layer, not the entire layer. So let's start with begin. I'll show you how to do it very simply. Now, if you don't see the word animate when you expand the word text, it's an easy fix. All it means is that you have to go down to the bottom of the timeline, the bottom left, and select one of these three icons on the bottom. Basically, they will give you access, default access to several different items that you'll have up on the heading of the layer bar. So if I click on the first one, you'll notice that now I can see the word animate. So now I can animate the text. So my intention is to select animate, and I'm going to choose position. So instead of going to transform position in order to change the position of the entire layer, I just want to go to text animate position so I can change the position of the text. I can select to change the position of the whole word or individual characters in the word. When I select position, you'll notice that on top of that I get something called Animator 1 and Range Selector 1. Range Selector means I can select whatever characters in the word I want and I can animate them, or a range of characters. So if I expand the range character, you'll notice that, and I click on it, and I zoom in here a little bit, you'll notice that all of a sudden, and I showed this in class too, I get these two vertical red lines, and they both have arrows. The one on the left has a right pointing arrow, the one on the right has a left pointing arrow. You'll see as I scrub the range selector for start, it moves the start range selector from left to right. If I do the same thing with the end, it moves the end range selector. So you'll see that start is on 0, end is on 100. So, for example, if I just wanted to animate the two zeros, what I could do is letters O, I could move the range selectors so the start and the end are kind of grouping the two O's together. So let's say I wanted to change the vertical position. I could just change the vertical position of those. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. And let me go back to 0 and 100 for the start and the end of the range selector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate the word cooking, and I'm going to have the characters sort of gradually drop. So this is a really simple way to do it. So what I can do is I can, first I'm going to, in the range selector, I'm going to select my position. So I'll start a few frames, and then I go forward a little bit, maybe to 1 second, and I'm going to drop the Y coordinate, or the vertical position, all the way down. So if I were to rewind this and press the space bar, you'll see that the text goes down. I want it to go a little bit faster, so I'm going to move it a little closer. Yeah, okay. So now what I want to do is I want to select a range so the characters will gradually fall. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to turn on the start, and I'm going to, at the end, or maybe even before then, I'm going to make it go all the way. So what happens is, you'll see now what happens is it's going up. Let's say I didn't really mean for it to go down and up like that, but that is kind of a cool effect. I could do something by swapping the keyframes. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw an invisible marquee around both of them so I can select both of the keyframes. You know they're selected because they turn blue. And I'm going to right-click, Control-click, and I'm going to select Keyframe Assistant, Time Reverse Keyframes. What that does is it literally reverses the keyframes. So now what happens, because I just did it backwards, is they all kind of fall nicely from right to left. I could get them to fall differently, but I think that works pretty well. The end.